Buddy, hey, there we go. We have a little degradation, and I'm not sure what's going on. It just could be the entire impact that the internet is having today, as millions and millions of kids are probably learning remotely, and here we are trying to run a business. Hey, everybody, it's Carm Capriotto, and this is our first Shop-Ware Facebook Live. We're going to do 3 of these in a row. I don't know if you know this, but how exciting. Today, we're going to have the benefits of remote pay next Wednesday, same time, 12 noon Eastern. We're going to have Broadly on. It'll be a great show. Broadly, great people. And October 7th, Carolyn and Rick White are going to be on, and we're going to talk about some analytics. Well, so honored, Shopware is a great sponsor of Remarkable Results Radio and the Town Hall Academy that I've been doing for 5 years now, contributing all this great wisdom to the aftermarket. And I kind of look at this show as the same thing. We're purveyors of wisdom and ideas to help motivate you to new and better levels. Nothing better than having a piece of software that anchors everything that you do in the success of your business. Hey, with me from 360 Payments is Jesse Madaw. Did I say that right, Jesse?
Madaw, yep.
Madaw, excellent. Partner at 360. Glad to have you here. Way back December 2019, Steve Ciabattoni and I did a podcast on text to pay. I also had him on 2 years earlier than that just to find out what 360 Payments was all about. Glad you guys are continuing to be so strong and working hard to make our industry better. With us also is Monique. I'm going to goof this up. I know it. Mondragon Tafora. Did I say? It was. If not, I so apologize. From Shop-Ware, and she is a sales manager. Glad to have you here, Monique.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Boy, I am just. Being Italian, you'd think that the R's would just roll off my tongue. Bill DeBoyer is with us from DeBoyer's Auto Sales and Service. Hey, Bill.
Hey, everybody.
Glad you're here, man. Bill and I, we've done 4 episodes together. He's either been on panels with me over the years. Thank you so much for your contribution and for being here today. And Mike Rubio, Auto Works of Brandon, Florida. Hello, Michael.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Glad you're here. All right, let's start learning. Let's start getting our greatest wisdom. If you're not doing 360 payments, you're not doing text to pay. Shame on you. Jesse, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
I didn't want to say it, so I appreciate it. I appreciate you talking with Steve a couple years ago. We've really tried to focus in the automotive industry for payments. When we first started 360, it was a little bit of everything. We talked to every shop down Main Street, and we really wanted to focus. And when we looked at our business and looked at different industries, the automotive industry was on a payment side and a technology side still a little bit behind the times. And with Shop-Ware and a lot of these new shop management systems are really trying to help these shops streamline their business. And so that's why we really got into it in the first place and focused with the automotive industry. And then we just looked at different ways that we could help be a resource. And text to pay was something that really we didn't see available anywhere in the industry. So we started doing that with a couple DVI systems. And when we started integrating with a lot more shop management systems, we started talking about that more often. And Shop-Ware has been an amazing partner, and the remote pay that they have is really, really great for shops. So I have a little slide, Cam, if you want to throw it up here. Just some of the benefits that we've found, with the Shop-Ware and the remote pay, and just how it works for the shops. And I'll let these guys talk from firsthand experience here, but really what we wanted to do was make it easy for customers to pay at their own time, as simple as possible, and keep it efficient. So, in the shop, we were looking at the payment experience, and the customers come in and are standing in line at 5 o'clock when it's a big rush when everybody's picking up their cars, And with the remote pay, it removes the payment piece from that whole pick up the car end of day interaction, and it's much more efficient. And a lot of times there's the after hours pickup where the staff at the shop is taking payments over the phone. They're leaving the keys in the car, and people are coming after they get out of work. And the remote pay, they're able to just shoot a text out to them. I mean, the customer could be in a meeting and paying by their phone under the desk, without even interrupting their meeting. So, that just efficiency, and it makes it very, very simple for them to pay. And then it just streamlines the checkout process. And so, when the customers come in to pick up their car, the payment's already taken care of. And we've actually surveyed a lot of our customers, and something that we didn't even think about was a lot of shop owners were telling us, at that time of pickup, they really have time for one conversation with the customer. And a lot of it's around how you're going to pay, and then trying to go over the invoice and things like that, where when the payment's completely off the table, then there's more opportunity to talk about the inspection and the other things that need to be done, and booking more business, down the road. So the efficiency there has been a real benefit.
Can I stop you for a minute, Jesse, and
Yeah.
and just ask Michael and Bill, you had text to pay before the pandemic?
Yes. Yes, I
Okay.
had it. I think I had it right after it's right about when it started. It was somewhere right in there is when I got on.
Okay, and you have to be like happier than anything to have had
Oh,
it, right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Bill, how about you?
Yeah, so I think they rolled it out maybe the end of Q4. So I was kind of letting it roll out, make sure the kinks were all worked out of it. And right when all this stuff started hitting and we were locking our office door and stuff, that's when we went ahead and jumped on there real quick. Sign up was easy, piece of cake, and then we were off to the races with it.
I said over and over on podcasts, in the really height of the pandemic, that the base case of a cloud-based software system and text to pay, lock boxes and all that stuff, I don't want to get into that. It's not important. Well, guess what? The pandemic showed that the base case of doing this was so necessary. And I can't imagine, Monique, how you guys were probably inundated with getting this feature turned on in your company.
Oh yeah, the second we turned it on, port 360 took it like some champs, but they just let it all roll in. It was like the floodgates were open for them. So they did a very good job onboarding and managing the amount of requests that was coming in the door for them, for sure.
Got it. Hey, I see a couple of questions coming in on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, we can see your comment streams. We're more than happy to take your comments, put them up here on the screen, or we've got this great question or concern that someone has, which we'll deal with later, Jesse, as you just continue to walk us down this presentation of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So the efficiency, and like you said, with the pandemic, obviously that became a necessity. It was a nice to have for for a while, and then once the pandemic hit and there was no way to come into the shop, that was really efficient. The customer convenience, like I was talking about, the customers are able to pay whenever they want on their own time frame. And then, the safety of, the social distance with the pandemic and with everything going on right now. This is a way to, keep your employees safe, keep the customers safe. It reduces the interaction, and then, contactless payments in general is something that every business is trying to add now. So all of these benefits around the remote pay have been really beneficial. And Shop-Ware's done a great job, promoting this with all their customers.
Great. Next slide.
Sure. So the integration with Shop-Ware is not just remote pay. So it's also, the card present with the terminal. and all of our credit card terminals also have Apple Pay, Android Pay, the contactless payments. So there's, depending on what part of the country you're in, you're able to have your lobbies open, but you may not want to be handing those cards back and forth. So having the option to do Apple Pay and that contactless payments is still there with all our equipment. So Bill, I think, mentioned it, the ease of the installation and setup. It's literally you put in the serial number from the back of the terminal into the Shop-Ware system, and it's paired. And as you plug it in, as soon as the terminal's online, you're up and running. So we try to make it as simple as possible to get set up. We already touched on the checkout process a little bit, but same thing in the store. It's you have a customer facing terminal. The customer puts in their own credit card. All that is all integrated directly into Shop-Ware. So even in the store, there's not much that has to be passed back and forth between the employees, or between the employee and the customer. And then we added signature capture, which just streamlines the whole process. It's digital signature capture right on the credit card terminal that's customer facing. That prints right out on the work order or the invoice that you hand off to the customer, and there's one piece of paper. So it eliminates, printing the receipts, stapling the receipts, doing all that kind of stuff. And just that checkout process just becomes very simple to do. I don't know if, Bill or Mike, you guys have any comments on that, how it's been in store for you guys?
Well, I can say that, I think text to pay is kind of to me, it sounds antiquated. I think of texting like the old flip phone when people used to text to people. I mean, this is just the way we do business now. I mean, it's very seamless. We communicate to the customers that we're going to share their invoice with them, and they can just go over it, review it, and then click the checkout button at the bottom. I mean, it's so simple and easy. It's just a really nice interface, and the customers absolutely love it, especially with the pandemic. There's a few different use cases we've come across as well, like with fleets where the drivers will be the ones dropping off and picking up the vehicles, and they may have like a fleet gas card, but they may not have the company credit card. So this allows us to send that bill over to the office manager that can go in, remote pay, and it lights up on our side once they've paid with a green light, and then those cars are free to be picked up.
Smart stuff. Hey, let's address one of the questions right now to the team. Please discuss and address about protecting the shop from chargebacks when you can't capture the signature and confirm the card belongs to the person on the other side. Jesse?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So the remote pay is a little more secure than a phone transaction from a data standpoint. So, you're not having your shop take the phone, write down a credit card number, throw that in the trash somewhere. So it's more secure from a data standpoint, but from a chargeback standpoint, it's the same thing as taking a phone order. So you have, the information. The signature isn't really as much comes into play with chargebacks anymore. Visa, MasterCard recently don't require signatures anymore. It's still good to get it, and it's still a lot of shops need it on the invoice for just to have a signature on the invoice. But for chargebacks, and there's still a risk to taking any credit cards. Even in your shop, customer can do a chargeback, and there's lots of different types of chargebacks. So even if you have a signature and you have everything, and a customer does a chargeback and says, "I didn't get the service I was provided," you're still going to have to work out, showing, that you provided the service, showing the invoice, showing all the different things, writing a narrative on what you did for that customer. And then it really comes down to the decision from the chargeback department. So we work with our customers to give them as much information as possible to protect yourself from chargebacks. And a lot of it is just documenting everything along the way so that you can present your case to the chargeback department and show that you were in the right and you did everything correctly.
Good information, Jesse. Bill, Michael, any major chargebacks been happening with you?
I haven't had any. I mean, I think that if a criminal really wants to, do like, criminal activity with a fraudulent credit card, they're going to get any business out there, especially if they can do any type of remote or over the phone type of payment system. If they got the card information and submit it in there, I mean, you're going to have their info, but I think it's if somebody really, really wants to do it, they're going to do it. So it's not going to be your average Joe. I don't think any of your clients are going to do that. And with a chargeback, as Jesse was mentioning, most of the time, if it's a service issue, they consider that more of like a civil issue. And I've never lost a chargeback. I've only lost one. And it was because it was it was a guy that was using a fraudulent card. It wasn't his card. We made a lot of mistakes around that area, and we learned from it.
That's called wisdom, my friend. Hey, did we answer signature captures have been added? When did we answer that in the previous discussion?
If we use the terminal, it'll capture the signature at that time. So, terminal. Yeah, I mean, right. We really like the that you could just touch most of these credit cards nowadays. They beep, you get paid, and the customer can initial it. It's really contactless as far as that goes. But that's where we would capture it, or if we do it over the phone or something like that, then we would just initial it that way.
Got it. Here's a great high five for you, Jesse. 360 is and has been awesome through the pandemic, allowing us to offer contactless auto repair experience. You need to send a coffee gift card to that person. Wow, thank you so much. Happy customers in this group. It's amazing. It's amazing. Jesse, we have one more screen of yours. Let's jump in on that one right there.
Real quick, one more thing on chargebacks before we
sure.
jump to this screen. Even over the phone, Mike had a perfect example. Like there was, a fraud chargeback. If you wouldn't take that card over the phone, if you just get that gut feeling that something's wrong, you may not want to send it out as a remote pay and try and make them come in and be in front of you. Or if you're concerned about chargebacks with remote pay, set a limit. Only do $1,000 or below over remote pay. There's different ways that you can just protect yourself, but there is always that risk with any credit card transaction that there is a chargeback case or a possibility that a customer could do a chargeback. So that's what we advise is just if you have any gut feeling or bad feeling about a certain customer or certain interaction, maybe limit it.
I have a very curious question of my own. We just walk into a place, put the card in, boom, no signature, go. And I always wonder if the clearinghouse, Master Visa, whoever it is, has a little bit of my record. They know that this is a safe transaction. Does that go on underneath the covers?
The safest transaction now is a chip card transaction. So putting your chip in and running it that way. That's where the card brands will cover most of the liability. Some places are just still swiping. A couple of years ago, everybody remembers the big shift from just the MagTech to the chips and the pain in the butt of getting all the new equipment and all that stuff. So the chips are now absolutely the best way to do it. They're the securest way to do it because they have so much, data in there. But there's still, a lot of restaurants still just swipe the card because they didn't want to spend $30,000 for a new POS system. So it's the risk of a chargeback and a fraud for any swipe transaction or e-commerce transaction or anything like that is on the shop if it's not a chip card.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Good stuff. Good stuff. Chime in, everyone.
Well, I'm curious about when the customer does the touch to the terminal, does that go through the chip then?
Correct. Yeah. Apple Pay is the same security as the chip. So, same type of thing.
Jesse, let's do your slide 3.
Yeah. So just the difference of working with 360, like I touched on a little bit, we're experts in the automotive industry. We do the processing for more than 2,000 shops. And we've seen it all, with between, chargebacks and large transactions and funds being held and all these different things. We really have focused our back end processes to cater to the repair business. We don't lock anybody into contracts. We have a match or beat for processing rates. We don't want, rates to become an issue. We want the benefits of the integration to Shop-Ware and other SMS systems to really be the benefit for your shop. So we can 99% of the time match what you're doing or beat the current rates. Customer service is huge in our industry. I mean, we're dealing with the lifeblood of people's businesses and their money. So if you call us, we want to be able to have you, back up and running or have the issue resolved right away. So we really, really focus since the beginning on customer service. And then our sales team, I mean, you guys have seen it. We have a very consultative approach. We want to work with you. I know the credit card industry has kind of a bad reputation for, kind of smoke and mirrors sales, and we get away from all of that. We really want to be upfront and honest with all of our customers. And that's where a lot of our good reviews come from. And we get tons of referrals from existing customers because they've had a good experience with us. That's really what we want to continue. And, just making things easy, easy to understand. The credit card processing industry is confusing. There's over 250 different ways or rates out there. There's, over 100 different types of Visa cards, the rewards cards and points and miles and all these different things. And it is confusing industry. So we want to try to make it as simple as possible and, answer our customers' questions whenever anything comes up. So, so that's just a little bit about us and kind of, what we're really trying to focus on. But, with the partnership with Shop-Ware has been fantastic. And, throughout this pandemic and kind of the change of how business is being done now, I think this is really the way things are going to be going. Payments should become an afterthought, and how you run your shop should be all on one system. And Shop-Ware is moving right along in that direction, making it as simple as possible to run your shop. And we're feel really lucky to be working with them and helping bring the payments piece of that all cohesively to the shops to make things just easier to grow your shop.
We couldn't agree more, Jesse. Thank you. You allow us to be completely contactless, 100% paperless, and you would never have to chat with a customer in the pandemic in person with Shop-Ware. So this allows us to be, from the beginning all the way to the end of the process, 100% paperless. So thank you.
One of the other things, if I could, on 360, the communication that comes out of their system is very, very good. Like I'll get reminders, hey, Labor Day is this weekend. You're not going to see your payments till the following day. If there was a hiccup in, batch processing, you get notified on it. So you have clear and transparent communication going on all the time, which I did not have with my previous processor. So
awesome.
Kudos to them for that.
Appreciate it.
Hey, I want to remind everyone if you're watching on Facebook, we sure appreciate it. The beauty of this show, this series that we're going to do, is it's going to live on the Shop-Ware Facebook page in this group. So you can go back to it and you could watch it again. You could share it with a friend. There's hundreds and hundreds of people in this group. They all need to see this, and we need to make sure that it lives. So I'm charging everyone who's watching this and everyone who's on the show to be sure that we get out there and spread the word, because it's like you own a piece of software and you use 15% of its powering capabilities. And if you're not a curious person who wants to learn something new every day and stretch your business and make it better, these series, these next 3 weeks are going to be all about that, taking the real world experiences from like Bill and Mike and share them with everyone. And then while you're watching this, saying, I'm not doing this, and why aren't I not? And there's not that many pitfalls, and they got great customer service. I'm sure it's, to me, that's music to my ears, Jesse, that you would protect any business owner by making sure that their business runs seamlessly, by jumping upon any problems that someone would have.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it seems like it's a no-brainer, but that was when we first started 360, that was one of the biggest things we heard from customers, is saying, I can't get a hold of my processor. And I'm like, that's, the first step. Like, you should at least be able to get somebody on the phone and talk to them. So, so that's really, I think, one of the biggest things in our industry that needs improvement, no matter whether it's with us or any other processor. Just having that contact, that single point of contact, even if it's just a sales rep or somebody you can talk to right away if you have a question or a problem. So.
Got it. Hey, here's a Facebook comment. Using the chip is the only way you won't have the funds immediately removed from your account upon a dispute per Visa on my last chargeback. So the proof of the pudding is you got to have that chip reader as part of your program. Is that what they're saying here?
Yeah, the funds, I don't know if that makes a difference on when the funds get removed. Some back-end processors will pull the funds and hold them right away, and then get both sides stories and then give back the funds to whoever they decide wins. Some back-end processors will not pull the funds until the merchant loses a chargeback. So they'll never pull the funds until they lose, and then it goes back to the cardholder. So it just depends on some of the back-end processors, but that could be correct for the back-end that they're using.
From all of your experiences, what's the timeline from a transaction to a dispute?
It depends. It can be up to 6 months. So a customer can dispute a transaction up to 6 months after it's been closed.
But you already have your money.
Correct. Right. And so, that's where the risk comes in. And, with Visa, MasterCard, it comes down to the chargeback department. And it's not us, it's not 360, it's not your current processor, it's the chargeback department with Visa, MasterCard. So it's really kind of how it plays out. Everybody wants to take credit cards. It's very easy, but there are those risks involved with it. But if you protect yourself, if you use the chip, it's a lot of it is kind of common sense. But there are fraudsters out there, especially now with the pandemic, with more card not present transactions and internet transactions and online transactions. The fraudsters are taking advantage of that as well. Sure. So it's definitely something to look at over every industry and any business that accepts credit cards.
I got to think too, like I haven't been through a dispute in quite some time, but I know you got to write the narrative and stuff. But I'm just thinking with the way Shop-Ware operates, the way we're getting pre-authorizations on everything, the way they're checking out here, I can't imagine I'd even have to bother writing a narrative. I would just simply email that invoice and all the notes attached to it over to the processor and let them deal with it at that point.
Right. And that's the benefit of having all that documentation, because you already have it all built in there, and it shows every step of the way what you're doing and approvals from the customer and all that. So yeah, that's a great option.
No paper receipts to go through and dig out and.
Yep.
That's a good point. Thank you, Bill.
Any other real world stories on processing, credit, customer relations that we could share here before we put a pin in it?
From our side,
I would just add in, as a shop owner, the only missing link that I saw in Shop-Ware, honestly, was the payment option at the end. And so once that came on live, it just made our life just so much easier as shop owners. What did a lot of shop owners do after COVID-19 hit? They all started back, even Walmarts, they're all backing their hours down. They're becoming, operating less hours during it. And so that was easy. Once we had the payment system, then our clients, if you can't be here by 5, pay online, just get it paid. We'll put your key in the lockbox. Our new hours are 8 to 5. I got the banker hours. I got them back. I used to be 7:30 to 5:30 doing, long hour days here. and I'm not doing that anymore. And my staff is happier too, being able to come in at 8 instead of 7:30, because we don't have to be here to serve our clients. We have all the tools necessary to serve them and get them in and out in a timely fashion while we're working. So it really created a lot of efficiencies in our business. And the best part, and it was mentioned earlier about them paying and then picking up and you get to hand them their keys, is that the talk is only about, hey, the email went, your invoice is in your inbox, and hey, we really appreciate you coming in today. You get to build that rapport with the customer instead of trying to process payments. So if you can, if they do pay online, it makes it so much better when you're checking them out, because you just get to talk about nothing. You get to build value with them, or when are we going to see you again, whatnot, walk them out to their car. And
how's the family? How was your last vacation?
Exactly.
What are your dreams and your goals? I want to know. Oh, and by the way, Michael said something about bankers' hours, and I think he's wrong. See, bankers work, I think, 9 to 4, Michael. So
Maybe. If the bank is open.
Yeah, right.
If the bank is, Michael brings up such a great point about the adjustment of hours, getting things done. I mean, and again, it goes to your point, the efficiency of software, the efficiency of systems, the efficiency of processes tightened up our world. We had to do these things if we were going to survive. And it's a shame. This whole pandemic thing is a crying shame. But yet, we figured it out. We've gotten through it, and we got smarter because of it.
You know what Shop-Ware loves to hear, Mike. Thank you for pointing that out. Is not only are we hearing the system is bettering the shop and things that you're doing in the shop, but we're also hearing that Shop-Ware is giving you that element of happy that maybe you didn't have before, whether that's being with your family or giving your time back to your employees. It makes us really excited. So thank you, Michael, for saying that.
Well, this was great. Any final words from anyone before I remind everyone what we're doing next week?
Appreciate it.
Thank you all so much. What are we doing next week? Well, today, of course, we had Jesse on from 360. Next week, Broadly will be here, and we're going to talk about the power and the value of Broadly. And then finally, in our third week of this, on October 7th, same time, same station, Analytics with Rick White. Wow, that's good. And Carolyn's going to be here. And we have a guest from Shop-Ware every week. Excited about this. Thank you to Jesse Madaw from 360, Monique Mondragon Tafoya, I think I may have said that better, sales manager at Shop-Ware, Bill DeBoyer from DeBoyer's Auto, and Michael Rubio, our banker buddy from Auto Works in Brandon, Florida. Thank you all so much for hanging out, and let's share this and tell the rest of the world what we're doing here. Thanks, everyone.
Sounds great. Thank you.
See you guys.
See you guys.